Hi everyone, Michelle Fixit. Today's video is going to be, can you vote if you are a felon? So I already made one video. This video is going to have state by state. I'm going to do some remixes on it, so hopefully it reaches the right people. So common knowledge is that if you have a felony, you cannot vote. And a lot of people assume that. They never fact check it, they never research it, they never look into it because they assume that because they did something in their youth, they lose their right and privilege to vote. And I'm here to tell you today that I found out but a day ago that is not always the case. So this is just one of those things where it's do your research. So I will be showing you, or at least giving you, and then giving you a link to a website that makes it very user friendly, but I'm using a different website today. This is straight from N as in November, C as in Charlie, S as in Sierra, L as in Lima, .org/elections and campaigns /felon voting rights. So this is straight from this resource. This is not the one that makes it user friendly, but this one has a listing thing so that way I can go through it with you guys and let you know that you may or may not have your right to vote, even if you've had a felony, and it just depends on the state that everything happened with. All right, so the states that never lose their right to vote: District of Columbia, technically not a state, but different entity. This is Charlie Fixit. He likes to.
A square.
It is a square. Okay, so you never lose your right to vote in the District of Columbia, Maine, Vermont, and that's it. Okay, up to the top of the table, because now I'm multitasking with a small child. So lost only while incarcerated. Those states, okay, lost only while incarcerated, automatic restoration after release: California, Colorado, Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, New Mexico, North Dakota, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Utah, and Washington. Going back up to the top of this list, bear with me. Lost until completion of sentence, parole and/or probation, sometimes fines, fees, and restitution, automatic restoration after. The states are Alaska, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Kansas, Louisiana, Missouri, Nebraska, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and that's the end of that one. Lost until completion of sentence. In some states, a post-sentencing waiting period. Additional action required for restoration, details in Table 2. This would be Alabama, Arizona, Delaware, Florida, Iowa, Kentucky, Mississippi, Tennessee, Virginia, and Wyoming. I'm sorry, I can't share the screen. My phone is acting up, so you guys just have to see me. So Table 2 for the website that I gave at the beginning of this video has details on policies for restoration of rights. So we're going to read through here, because again, I'm going to be segmenting this into remixes to hopefully bring attention to the felons out there. I know I'm going to get a lot of kickback, but if you did the crime and you did the time and you think that common knowledge is that you lose your ability to vote for the rest of your life, there are a lot of people out here in this country that think that they are not allowed to vote. And I want to make sure that everyone that is allowed to vote, everyone that has the right to vote, everyone that doesn't have the appropriate information to vote, that there is a resource out there. Because sometimes you just need a random little video. And I'm Michelle Fixit, and I like to fix it. So we're gonna try to make it where people can vote. Let's fix it. I know everybody wants to be grumpy because like felons are bad. No, not everyone that does bad stuff at one point in their life will be bad for their whole entire life, and you never know what kind of situation someone was in to get them to a point to peddle fine goods on the street or peddle grass and weeds in the street. You don't know if they were trying to put bread and bacon on the table. You don't know what kind of situation they were in. You don't know if they were 17 and they had 8 siblings and their father passed away and they had to be the person to get out there and make some type of money because no one else was going to do it. So you don't know someone's situation and their life and what got them to the point of committing some type of crime. And then they did the time and they've been a law-abiding citizen for years and years and years, and they go around every single day thinking that they have lost their ability to vote, and they have a lot of opinions, but they feel like all they can do is tell people and not have the privilege of the privilege and the right of being able to vote. So I'm very excited to share this information. So if you have any snotty comments, keep them to yourself. And now I have alarms going off for nap time. Okay, so it's going to be a boring read, but it might be a great read for the person that needs it. So this starts off alphabetically. So we're going to start off with the state of Alabama and the details on policies for restorations of votes. So, if you were in Alabama, can you vote? Well, let's see. If you had a felony. The Alabama Constitution states that no person convicted of a felony involving moral turpitude or who is mentally incompetent shall be qualified to vote until restoration of civil and political rights or removal of disability. And before 2017, there was no comprehensive list of felonies that involved moral turpitude, which would disqualify a person from voting. So that's one of those things where you need to check the website that's going to be attached to the video. So if you're in Alabama, check the website. Arizona, if you were a felon, do you lose your right to vote? Or can you vote in the future? Arizona says a conviction for a felony suspends the rights of a person to vote unless they have been restored to civil rights. First-time offenders have rights restored upon completion of probation and payment of any fine or restitution. A person who has been convicted of 2 or more felonies may have civil rights restored by the judge who discharged him at the end of the term of probation or by applying to the court for a restoration of rights. So that is check the website that is in the video. Delaware, if you have a felony conviction, can you vote? Let's see. In Delaware, people who are convicted of disqualifying felonies, unaliving someone, bribing someone, or doing very not nice things to someone, are permanently disenfranchised. Those disqualified as a voter because of another type of felony shall have the disqualification removed upon being pardoned or after the expiration of the sentence, whichever comes first. In 2013, Delaware removed its 5-year waiting period, allowing those convictions of non-disqualifying offenses to vote upon completion of sentence and supervision. So, if you are in Delaware and you are a felon and you want to know if you can vote, you need to check the website that is part of this video. Florida, check the comments. That's where it'll be. It'll be in the comments or the description. Florida, in 2018, an initialized constitutional amendment restored the right to vote for those with prior felony convictions, except those convicted of unaliving or a felony, not very nice thing to do to a person offense, who must still petition the governor for restoration of voting rights on a case-by-case basis. In July 2019, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed SB 7066, which defined completion of sentence to include release from imprisonment, termination of any ordered probation, fulfillment of any terms ordered by the courts, termination of any ordered supervision, full payment of any ordered restitution, and the full payment of any ordered fines, fees, or costs. So if you are in Florida and you are a felon and you want to know if you can vote, you need to check the comments in the description so that you can find out, because it is a case-by-case basis. In Iowa, if you have a felony, can you vote? Iowa says a person convicted of any infamous crime shall not be entitled to the privilege of an elector. In 2016, the Iowa Supreme Court upheld the ban on felony voting, finding that all felonies are infamous crimes, resulting in permanent disenfranchisement. And that was by Peter versus Pate, 2016. The ability of the governor to restore voting rights to persons convicted of infamous crimes throughout pardoning power was upheld in State versus Richardson 2017. In 2020, Governor Kim Reynolds issued Executive Order 7, which restores voting rights to all who have completed felony sentences, except those convicted of unaliving someone and related crimes. So if you were convicted of unaliving someone or related crimes, which you can go to the comments in the description of this video and find a very user-friendly website, then you may or may not be able to vote in Iowa. Kentucky, if you have a felony in Kentucky, can you vote? Kentucky says, persons convicted of treason or felony or bribery in an election or of such high misdemeanor as the General Assembly may declare shall operate as an exclusion from the right of suffrage. But persons hereby excluded may be restored to their civil rights by executive pardon. Governor Andy Beshear restored voting rights to individuals with former non-violent felonies via executive order in 2019. Governor Steve Beshear had originally done so in 2015, though Governor Matt Bevin reversed that executive order shortly after taking office in 2015. The Department of Corrections is required to promulgate administrative regulations for restoration of civil rights to eligible felony offenders. So if you are in Kentucky, you need to check the website and see if you can restore your right to vote or if you lost your vote. Mississippi, my home state. If you are a felon from Mississippi, can you vote? Mississippi says a person convicted of unaliving someone, doing really bad things to someone, bribery, theft, arson, obtaining money or goods under false pretense, perjury, forgery, embezzlement, or bigamy is no longer considered a qualified elector. If an individual hasn't committed one of these offenses, rights are automatically restored. If an individual has been convicted of one of these, he or she can still receive a pardon from the governor to restore voting rights, or by a 2/3 vote on both houses of the legislature. So that one sounds complicated, but because I did look at this one a little bit more because it is my home state, essentially if you've committed one of those crimes that it talks about in the beginning, then you're not going to be able to vote. But if you were peddling fine goods on the street, or you were peddling grass and weeds, trying to do dumb stuff in your youth, and you did the crime and you did the time, you should be eligible to vote. So again, check the comment, check the descriptions for this video, and that will direct you to if you can or you cannot. But in most cases, as long as you didn't do those things, then you'll be okay. Nebraska, if you are from Nebraska and you have a felony, can you vote? Nebraska says, in felony cases, when the sentence is not reversed or annulled, the person is not qualified to vote until they complete their sentence, including any parole term. This law may be passed in light of a July 2024 opinion from the state attorney general finding that the legislature lacked authority to make this change. So if you're a felon in Nebraska and you want to vote, you need to check the website because that one seems a little complicated as well. So Oklahoma, if you are in Oklahoma and you are a felon, can you vote? Let's see. Oklahoma says, persons convicted of a felony shall be eligible to register to vote when they have A, fully served their sentence of court-mandated calendar days or had their sentence discharged, including any term of incarceration, parole, or supervision, or completed a period of probation ordered by any court. B, received a commutation that reduced the sentence of any active felony conviction to time served pursuant to federal or state law and have no other outstanding sentence under any other felony conviction. C, received a Wow, this state, what state is this? Oklahoma, you have a lot of criteria here. I'm going to keep reading. So in Oklahoma, you need to check that user-friendly website that's attached to the comments in the description, because otherwise we're going to spend 5 minutes reading through what Oklahoma has to say about this. So I apologize, Oklahoma felons. you need to use the website. Look in the description, look in the comments. It will be there. It's very user-friendly. Tennessee. If you are a felon in Tennessee, can you vote? Tennessee says, the Tennessee Constitution denies the right to vote to persons convicted of an infamous crime. Any felony is considered an infamous crime and disqualifies a person from exercising the right of suffrage. Those convicted of infamous crimes may petition for restoration upon completion of the sentence or be pardoned by the governor. Proof of restoration is needed in order to register to vote. So in Tennessee, check the user-friendly website, description, comments, and you will be able to see a little bit more of a case-by-case basis, because it seems like Tennessee wants to be a little bit poopy about the ability to vote. So next state is Virginia. In Virginia, no person, if you want to vote in Virginia and you're a felon, this is what Virginia says. No person who has been convicted of a felony shall be disqualified to vote unless his civil rights have been restored by the governor or other appropriate authority. The Department of Corrections is required to provide persons convicted of felonies with information regarding voting rights restoration, and assist with the process established by the governor for the review of applications. Individuals with felony convictions may petition the courts in an attempt to restore their voting rights. Virginia Governor Ralph Northam released an executive action that allows any person released from incarceration to qualify for restoration of voting rights. In 2023, Governor Glenn Youngkin reversed that practice and began requiring individuals to apply for rights for restoration once again. You know, so this is a state-by-state thing that constantly changes, which is why you need to go to the website that is in the comments and in the description to see for your state, for your specific situation, because you don't know how to read legalese and you are very confused. A lot of these states, you're going to use that website and you're going to see. And if you can, then guess what? There's a link to click, there's papers to print, you pop them in the mail, and now you can vote. Wyoming. If you are a felon in Wyoming, can you vote? Wyoming says, for persons convicted of non-violent felonies or a first-time offender, rights are restored automatically. A person convicted of a felony is not a qualified elector until 5 years after the person has completed their sentence, including probation and parole. A person may have their voting right restored if pardoned. So, Wyoming, check the website that's in the description and in the comments, because it seems like that's a pretty clear-cut answer, but you still just want to check. And then it also has recent state actions on this website for 2024. And I don't feel like it's going through all of the states, because going from the bottom up, we have Wyoming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I just read off 12 of the 50 states, excluding DC. So you really should check state by state if you have the ability to vote. So the website that makes it incredibly user-friendly is going to be, campaign, so I'm going to give it to you in phonetics, Charlie, Alpha, Mike, Peter, Alpha, India, I forgot G, Golf, Golf, November, Lima, Echo, Golf, Alpha, Lima, .org, O-R-G, / restore your vote. That will give you a very easy, user-friendly way to find out if you are a felon based off your state, if you can have your voting rights restored, if you never lost them, if you need to register to vote. And then, like I said, this restore your vote with that campaign, legal.org / restore your vote, makes it super user friendly. And so if you feel like your voice matters, and if you did the crime and you did the time and you are a felon and you really want to participate, and the only way that you feel like you can actively participate in the political climate that is going on right now is by talking to other people, because you cannot go with the ballot and check the box and be able to get the nice little sticker that says I voted. Guess what? This is Michelle Fixit saying, go and vote, because you may be able to go and vote. You need to get registered. There's a timeline for all of this stuff. So all the states. This is calling all the different states because, again, I didn't know. I had always been told it. So if you are in one of these states, and I'm just going to list off all of them because I'm going to make some remixes off of this. And I know some people are just going to be like, whatever, we don't care about this, but you should care. This is your country. You should care. So if you are in, I'm like trying to look up the alphabetical order for the states so I can use it in this video, and like everything is trying to get me to like link up stuff, and I'm like, no, I just really need the states because like I can't just rattle off all the states because like I'm not that cool guy. This is so sad. My video is just gonna make it where like everyone knows that like I don't have the states memorized. I mean, I can like randomly, but then I'd be guessing and I'd be using my fingers and it'd probably be kind of embarrassing. So anyways, I have the list. So if you are a felon in Alabama, you need to look up if you can vote because you might be able to. If you're a felon in Alaska, you need to look at the link because you may be able to vote. Arizona felons, you may be able to vote. Look it up on the website that's in the comments in the description. Arkansas felons, you may be able to vote. Look it up. California felons, you need to look it up and see if you can vote. Colorado felons, you need to look it up and see if you can vote. Connecticut felons, you need to look it up and see if you can vote. Delaware felons, you need to look it up and see if you can vote because you may be able to vote. Check the comments, check the description. There's a website. Florida felons, you need to look it up and see if you can vote. Look in the comments in the description. Georgia felons, you need to look it up. Check the description, check the comments, you may be able to vote. Hawaii felons, you need to look it up, see if you can vote. Check the comments, check the description. Idaho felons, you need to look it up, see if you can vote. Check the comments, check the description. Illinois felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Indiana felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Iowa felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Kansas felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Kentucky felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Louisiana felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. And again, check the comments, check the description, user-friendly website. I don't get paid anything for doing this, I'm trying to help. Maine felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Maryland felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Massachusetts felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Michigan felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Minnesota felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Mississippi felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Missouri felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote.
What? Shoot.
Montana felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Nebraska felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Check the comments, check the description, website's there, very easy. Nevada felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. New Hampshire felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. New Jersey felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. New Mexico felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. New York felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. North Carolina felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. North Dakota felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Ohio felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Check the comments, check the description, the website is there, it's free, it's user friendly. Oklahoma felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Oregon felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Pennsylvania felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Rhode Island felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. South Carolina felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Again, check the comments, look at the description, there's a website, very user friendly. South Carolina felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. South Dakota felons, you need to look it up, you may be able to vote. Tennessee felons, you need to look it up. You may be able to vote. Tennessee felons, you need to look it up. You may be able to vote. Texas felons, you need to look it up. You may be able to vote. Utah felons, you need to look it up. You may be able to vote. Vermont felons, you need to look it up. You may be able to vote. Virginia felons, you need to look it up. You may be able to vote. Check the comments, check the description. There's a website. It's very user-friendly. Find out if you can vote. Use that right. Washington felons, you need to look it up. You may be able to vote. West Virginia felons, you need to look it up. You may be able to vote. Wisconsin felons, you need to look it up. You may be able to vote. Wyoming felons, you need to look it up. You may be able to vote. And Washington, D.C. felons, you need to look it up. You may be able to vote. So check the comments, check the description, check the website. Enter your state, enter that if you have a felony, click that you have a felony, go through the prompts. It will let you know in a user-friendly, easy to look at, easy to understand way if you never lost your privilege to vote based off of your state, if you can get your voting privileges restored, or if all you need to do is register. That's it. And then if it's something more spectacular than that, it will tell you. It is completely on a case-by-case basis based off of the states. It is ever-changing. And again, huge shout out to the website that I'm going to list in the comments in the description that let me know. And again, I don't have a felony, but I know people with felonies. And they want to have a voice again. And they did the crime, they did the time, and societally, they've done what was asked from them. So if you did something in your youth and you lost your privileges to vote, and you just automatically assume that you can't vote again for the rest of your life, I'm here to tell you that it's all based off of your state. We are the United States of America. And so since we are the United States of America, the states decide a lot of these different variations. So don't count yourself out. Get out there and vote. So again, the website that I want to credit that will be linked in the comments and linked in the description, that I have no affiliation to, but I find their website is the most user-friendly, is campaignlegal.org/restore your vote. And I think it's fantastic. And unfortunately, my phone won't let me flip right now. It's just stuck in selfie mode. But you guys like and subscribe. Have a fantastic day. If you are a felon out there that wants to restore their right to vote, or if you didn't know, or if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, unless they are grumpy because you're a jerky and you think that once somebody does a crime, they will always be a criminal, which is absurd, then ask me a question, comment, like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, but get out there and vote if you can. Register to vote. And it is tick, 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 okay? There is a timeline for being able to register to vote. So if you did a crime when you were 18, 20 years old, and you are 50, 60, 70 years old, and you've never thought that you could vote, guess what? Guess what? This year could be your year, but you have to do it, okay? So, you guys like and subscribe. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you at the polls. Bye.